Thank you for joining me for another reading vlog. Hi, my name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today is the start of a reading vlog. It is February the 1st. I am just getting over a cold. At least I hope I'm getting over it. I've had it for a week now. And so I'm now going to start the book that my best friend picked for me to read when I played my TBR game. I came up with the prompt, BFF picks a historical. So she picked that prompt, put it in my video. I had to watch the video to find out what book she picked. And so I will add the clip here of me discovering what clip she picked. I really hope that clip turned out because my voice was much worse than it is now. And it's still not feeling great. I'm gonna watch and find out. Let's see. So, the book she chose for me was... I have no idea. So you'll find out my thoughts later. The book cover's bad. Okay, so the book she chose for me is Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pearce. This was a birthday gift from a co-worker, and I now own book 2 of this one as well. So we'll find out. Christine did tell me in a text that she is planning on reading this month. So maybe, hopefully, we can buddy read it and chat about it, and yeah. It is a historical. A young woman in the 1940s London who longs to be a war correspondent inadvertently becomes a secret advice columnist. Now, when my coworker read it, she said she really enjoyed it, and it's like letters, like you're reading some letters, responding to letters, so it sounded really interesting. So we'll see. Will I enjoy it? Do I want to continue the series? Well, I have book 2, so I hope I do want to continue the series. So let's read through this and see what I think. Okay, so the book I'm starting is Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pearce. Now, I have been told by one of you that even if I get frustrated with the characters, keep going because it gets better. Okay, even though I get frustrated with characters, I do keep going usually, as you will see from the reading vlog that I did for January's book. That was not a favorite book. So, yeah. So I'm going to read this one, and this one is set in 1940s London for a woman who wants to be a war correspondent. So we will see. I'm going to start reading this, and we'll see how far I go. But I also, so on today's agenda, it is now after work. I'm home from work. I'm hoping to film my wrap-up of all the books I read in January. So that video will already be posted by the time you're seeing this one. But just, here's my stack of books that I need to talk about. Mine is a book, because I read a book on my Kindle as well. I did not think I would get through 10 books in January because it took me, by 2 weeks, I'd only read 2 books the first 2 weeks of January, because the first 2, they were thicker, because the first 2 books I read were these 2, right? So they were thicker books, but still, it just felt like I was hardly reading. But then the month ended well. So that is my plan. I hope to get that filmed tonight so that it can be edited and get up. And if that one's up, which I'm pretty sure it will be before this one, I will link it in the description below. And not really exciting tonight. I did have plans for the weekend that I was going to take you with me, but sounds like our plans have changed because my husband's work. So we'll see what happens there, because it's only Thursday. It's very possible that Friday they might change plans again, and Saturday's plans could be back on or modified, or we'll see what happens. Yeah, okay, that's it for now. I will check in later. So, I'm back. I haven't read any of this yet, but I have eaten supper. And I got this in the mail today. I'm so excited. I now have a physical copy I can put on my shelf. I did have an advanced reader copy through NetGalley, and I got this from Revel. And so thank you to them for giving me an advanced reader copy. And now I have a physical book to hold up while I talk about my review. And I can look at the prettiness of it on my shelf. I love this cover. I just really like this cover. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Now I need to film my wrap-up video, and then I will start reading. So, I have filmed my wrap-up now, and now I need to put these books on my shelves. So they were not on my read section of my shelves because were on my unread section, which you can't over here. But now I gotta make some room. That might be a problem. I've already decided which ones I'm unhauling of the group that I read, so they are under my desk for the unhaul pile. And these were my 2 favorite reads of the month. So it's time to switch out my favorite books. Do I do them on the top or the bottom? Well, maybe I've got 3. So if I've got 3 reads of the month, but I have 4 spots, who loses? Which one stays? Yes, because I do only have 3. Okay. Well. Which one was my most recent read? I don't know. So, there's the 3 of them. Now I gotta figure out the 4th spot. So, we're gonna go with... So, historical, and historical, contemporary. So, we want a contemporary. So, is that flow? Yeah, we're gonna go with trial and error. Okay, so now I gotta make room on these shelves for these guys. Hatcher. Actually, the 3-star doesn't stay on my shelf. Make a decision. Take 3 books off. I did give it 4, I only gave these guys 3. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, that's a little tight, but that's what it's gonna do for now. Oh, I thought I forgot to put a book on my shelf, but this is my friend's book. Okay, that's it for now. Friday evening. And I'm working on it. Haven't made it very far. I'm on page 28, but I have Becca keeping me company. We're on a reading sprint right now. I will link Becca's channel below, and her TBR game is like the best to watch. So I don't really have much to report yet. We've just found Emmy has just got the job at the newspaper, and she's just learning what she's going to do. And that's about all I know so far.
but that's what I'm going to do for the evening. I'm going to read and then I will check in later. Let's do a very brief update. It is now Saturday morning and we are just getting ready to go out, but I have been reading this. You can see I'm 70 pages in, I think, so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really interested in Emmy and kind of the situation she's in and how she's going to deal with it. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it so far. It is a little bit slow paced, so I'm not getting through it as quickly as I kind of expected to, but that's okay because I like the characters so far. Okay, so today, as I said, is Saturday. We are heading out of town to go look at some thrift stores, do some other shopping, and I'll take you with me. So we have made it to my favorite thrift store for books, so let's see what the selection's like today. Two of my favorite authors. And it's only $1. I wonder if this is the same one I almost bought last time. Yeah, I think so. I've heard really good things about this. Well, Andrew is hanging out inside one of his fish stores. Shall I show you what I found? What I decided to purchase? So I got The Marriage Wish by D. Henderson. I thought I had read all of D. Henderson's books, but I have not read this one. I'm not a fan of the cover, but it's just a plain black hardbound, so yeah, and it was only $2. Then I've heard really good things about Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. I have read 2 other books by her, but I wasn't a fan of. But I've heard really good things about this one, so we'll see. Again, it was only $2. And then I did show you when I saw this one, Desperate Measures by Lynette Eason and Christy Barrett. It is a bind-up of 2 love-inspired suspense books. Following the Trail is Lynette Eason's, and Dangerous Mountain Rescue by Christy Barrett. And I'm pretty sure I have Dangerous Mountain Rescue, but I haven't read it. Like, I think I have it on my TBR shelf, but I can get rid of it. And it's not in a great condition, but I can get rid of that one because now I've got the 2, and I have not read the Lynette Eason one. So I haven't read either one of these, and it was only $1. So yeah, those were my finds at this one. Now we are going to a few more, so I'll let you know if I find anything else. Made it to the Christian bookstore. I need to look it up. I don't know if I've read it. I'm in the discount version. I've heard really good things about this one. And it is book one. I've also heard really good things about this one. And In Search of a Prince. Oh boy. How many books am I going to walk away with?
So we are home now, and I'm gonna give you a book haul of what I picked up today. So we went to a couple Mission thrift stores. I did find some used books at the first one, which I showed you in the car clip. Then we went to a fish store. So we went to 2 fish stores. I went into the second one. Sometimes there's too much of a humidity smell for me that I can't. And Andrew's just, in his own world. So, yeah. I don't mind just waiting in the car. So we went to a couple fish stores, and then our last stop was the Christian bookstore, which I also found some books. So let's go over what books did I bring home today. So at the thrift store that I showed you, I got The Desperate Measure 2 books in 1, which I said replaces a book that I have on my shelf, which replaces this one. And as you can see, like the spine, you might not be able to see, but the spine is cracked, and it's like really cracked at the beginning, which I mean is fine for me to read. My mom gave me this one, so it didn't cost me anything. She got it for 50 cents according to the back. But this one was $1. I'm like, why not? So that was the first one. Then I got Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate and The Marriage Wish by Dee Henderson. Okay, so at the Christian bookstore, I found Lights Out by Natalie Walters. And when I showed Andrew this, as I was looking in the section, he's like, well, that's not a bad price for a book. Okay. So I looked it up because I had this on my wish list for like my Kindle and stuff, and it's $9.99 on my Kindle. So $10.99 for the physical one, I can handle that. Then I showed you this one, Stars in the Night by Kara C. Putman. So this was $5.99. I have read a few of Kara Putman's books, and she is a law professor, writer, and I've really enjoyed a lot of them. And it says on the back, Kara Putman, Stars in the Night, finds the perfect balance of historical romance and mystery suspense. Putman clearly creates characters who will steal your heart, and you'll find yourself immersed in the colorful setting she has created. I highly recommend to readers who love historicals, romance, and suspense. That's everything I love. So I should really enjoy this one. It is set in 1940s Hollywood. I don't see a time. Say in the intro, maybe. World War II. Yes, 1942. Okay, and then I saw this one. Everybody's been raving about this for a couple years ago, I would say now. In Search of a Prince by Tony Shiloh. This is book 1 of the series from what I understand. I have never read Tony Shiloh. And I've heard it's like Princess Diaries kind of take, and I love the Princess Diaries movie. So, yeah, I thought let's give it a try for $7.99. And then I got Yours is the Night by Amanda Dykes. Again, I've heard lots of good things about this, and I've never read Amanda Dykes. So, and the last one I picked up is Love Me Tender by Janice Hanna. This was $1.99. Yeah, $1.99. And I have read a lot of Janice Hanna / Janice Thompson and loved them. Loved them. But I've not read this one, and I've heard good things about it. And so I thought, well, for $1.99, I can't pass that up. So those are all the books I picked up today. And yeah, so tonight I am going to read some more and I will have an update on the book. But while we were driving, because we had an hour drive there and an hour drive back, and I've been listening to the memoir by Dick Van Dyke called My Life in and Out of Showbiz. My Life in and Out of Show Business, I think is the memoir. It was written in 2011, but Dick Van Dyke is narrating it. Like, I love that. I love his voice. And obviously, I want to say I'm of the generation, but I'm not really. I remember watching Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang through like my childhood. Just watching them a lot. And I love musicals, so it's been really cool to listen to, and I've learned stuff that I didn't know. And Andrew said he really enjoyed listening to it as well. He could listen to his voice all the time, and I'm like, perfect. So we do have another drive tomorrow when we go to visit family, so I will continue listening to it with Andrew. Okay, so that is the plan for now, the check-in. I don't have anything else to share, so I will check in again when I have something to share with you. So it is Sunday evening, and I have not checked in at all today. I'm not doing very good at this vlogging. So, as I said, it is Sunday. We went to church this morning. Right after church, we headed out of town to my brother and sister-in-law's, and we had lunch with them, and then spent the afternoon with them. And then came home, and we pretty much vegged, watched a couple of YouTube videos. That was about it. And then my husband went to bed. And yeah, so I have been reading. And I have an update for you. I have now made it exactly halfway through. I'm on page 142 of 280, chapter 14 of 28. So like exactly halfway. And I am still liking the character of Emmy, and interested in what's going on and how she's responding to the situation she's in. The thing about this, though, it is giving me flashbacks of my experience reading. I should grab the book. Embers in the London Sky by Sarah Sundin. Because this is happening during World War II, early 1941. The Blitz is happening in London, and they're dealing with air raids and stuff. Exact same thing happening. Set in London, they're dealing with air raids. Emmy works at the fire hall for the women's WAR, I think is what it's called, where they take the phone calls and then they dispatch basically the firemen out. And she has arrived on the scene of one of the calls that they've gone to, and like it just reminds me of things that I read in this one. So I feel like I'm in 1940s London. And so yeah, but I am really enjoying it and really following it and very invested. And also during our drive today, once again, we continued listening to the Dick Van Dyke book, My Lucky Life in and Out of Show Business. So it's all about his life, and up to 2011, because that's when this one was published. We are now 76% through, so almost done, only a quarter of the book left. And as much as like I've learned stuff about him that I had no idea, but I didn't know a lot about him to begin with. But the best part of this book is that he is reading it, because that's just awesome. His voice is great, easy to listen to, and coming like directly from him is great. There are a couple things that I'm kind of like, but it's also how my brain works, so I understand why it's done that way. But then I'm also kind of like, maybe it shouldn't have been done that way. Is everything is chronological for majority of it, right? Like, you know, as a kid in high school and college, and like early, like his early life, and then, you know, everything is going by his age basically, or years. And then every once in a while he'll be like talking about a story and he's like, oh yeah, that reminds me of a time when, and then he'll go back in time and tell a story, and then it'll jump back to the present time. Now that is totally how my brain works, because I'll be having a conversation, be like, oh yeah, that reminds me of, and I will do the exact same thing. But I'm also like, maybe for flow purposes, if you were going to do everything chronologically, you should have put that story chronologically. But that's just, you know, that's me. But I am really enjoying it, and I hope to finish it within the next day or two. We'll see. I mean, 25% isn't a lot to do, but now it's Sunday night, which means Monday, Tuesday, right? Like going into the work week, I only have before work, or like kind of, I only listen as I'm getting ready for work in the morning and on my drive to work, which isn't really that long, but because I've already listened to it as I get ready, right, it's not taking me out. Whereas driving home from work, I haven't listened to it, so it's not worth starting it for the 3-minute drive that I have. But yeah. But I should hopefully finish that. I should hopefully finish it before I finish this book, but who knows, because it's still early in the evening. Well, relative. I mean, Andrew has gone to bed, so it's not that early. But he also goes to bed, you know, 3 hours before I go to bed. So I do have some time. We'll see how this goes. So that is my check-in for Sunday. I will check in again when I have something else to say. It probably won't be till I finish this book, but who knows? Maybe something will happen and be like, oh wait, I need to tell you this. Okay, that's it for now. It is Monday evening. I worked today. Nothing too exciting. I mean, we did have a funeral at work today, so it was a busy morning getting ready for that. But other than that, I mean, it was a typical work day. And then came home, had supper, and Andrew's gone to bed, and I have been reading. And I'm almost done. Like, oh my, where's my thing? Like, really, that's all I have left. Because this is like notes and preview for the next book. And I'm very invested in this character. So I'm going to read the last chapter, but first, I'm comfy on the couch with my blanket. I've had this, it's a twin comforter. I've had this blanket since I was in college. My parents bought it for me for when I went to college. And I think my second year of college, I think. And I've had it since then. So, yeah. I don't want to think how many years old it is. I mean, I know. It's over 20 years old, let's put it that way. Because I have been out of college for over 20 years. And, I mean, it still shows, like, it's, you know, not the same color anymore, right? Obviously. You can really tell how faded it is at the top, but otherwise it's really held up, and it's my security blanket. I'm Linus from Peanuts, right? That's the character's name? I think so. Snoopy? Yeah. I don't watch the cartoons and stuff, and so I'm not great on matching up the right character names to things, but sometimes. So, yeah, so I'm gonna sit with my blanket, because you can't sit on the couch without a blanket, right? Am I right? I feel right. And let's finish the last chapter. Aw, I like that ending. Wow, yeah, I really like that ending. It kind of wraps things up nicely, but leaves it as what's gonna happen in the next book. I am not going to read the next I think, yes, there's a preview in here, and I'm not going to read it. Because I have a bunch of other books to read before I move on to the second one, because I still have 8 books from my TBR game to read. But I really enjoyed this. There is a little bit of language in it, but not like, nothing that really bothered me, but there is a little bit in it, just so you're aware of. But we see Emmy at the beginning and kind of young, a little bit naive about things, and through the course of the book we kind of watch her grow up and realize things and kind of learn hard lessons. But then the ending just kind of, everything's right in the world again. Well, I mean, yes and no. The war is still going on. London is still dealing with air raids and stuff. So, I mean, not all is right in the world, but in Emmy's world, like, friendships have been restored and kind of moving forward into a positive direction, hopefully. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. And now that I've finished this book, I can cross off a book on my TBR bingo board. One step closer to the 24 books that need to be finished for the year. And now that I'm done this one, it is time to decide what my next book is going to be. And I already know what that book's going to be. Let me grab it. So, for my next book, I'm going to read the book for my challenge. And that February's challenge is a past favorite. Or February's prompt for the challenge, whatever, is a past favorite. And when I was playing my game, I had the prompt, a number in the title. So I decided to pick this one as the past favorite, and it is The Two of Us by Victoria Bylin. What I forgot at the time was one of the bonus prompts on my challenge is to read a book with a number in the title, which wouldn't be that much of a challenge because when I was selecting a number in the title, I did have 3 options, and I decided to go with this one. My other 2 options were classics, but this is a Christian fiction reading challenge. I have to read a Christian fiction book for it, and this is the only Christian fiction book I own that I have on my TBR that has a number in the title. And I'm like, shoot. So I really should read this for one of the bonus prompts and find a different book for a past favorite. However, past favorite is February's prompt, and I don't have any other past favorites that I'm reading in February, like on my February TBR. And my game gave me 9 books already, and I only read 8 books physically in January. So, yeah, 8, yes, because I read 10, 2 were audio, yeah. So I'm like, what do I do? So me and my BFF were texting back and forth about this issue, and like, what other books do you know that have a number in the title? Came up with a ton of ideas, but I've read them. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And I thought this would be a fairly easy challenge to do. It can't be that hard to find a book with a number in the title, which it really, I mean, there was a ton we came up with. I've just read a lot of them. There is a couple coming, or one for sure, coming out in March. February? Actually, it might be February. Do I have it on the list here? One Wrong Move by Danny Petrie. Yes, it came out February the 6th. So in my world, it comes out tomorrow. By the time you're seeing this, it's already out. And that's a number in the title. However, it is book 1 of a new series that's starting. I do not have that book. And it would mean starting another series that isn't even released yet. So I'm like, I don't know about that. Then there is a Susan May Warren book coming out in March, but it's the exact same situation. It is called One Last Shot, but again, it's book 1 of a new series that's starting. The rest of the series isn't out. So, yeah. I've got to do a bunch of research. So, but since I chose this one for a past favorite, that's the one I'm going to read, and I'm just going to make myself find some books with numbers in the title for that prompt. And at some point, I will have a recommendations video coming out for that prompt. So hopefully by then, I mean, I'll have a ton to recommend that I've already read. But hopefully I will have found some more that are possible options for me to complete that prompt. So I'd love it if you would leave some suggestions in the just comments below, because yeah, apparently it's not as easy as I thought it would be. But this is the one I'm going to read. I'm going to start now because it's a contemporary romance. I have just read a historical, and I've read a couple historicals in January. Wow, I lost what month it was already. And I do have a couple more historicals on my list for my TBRs, so I'm like, I need to kind of break them up a little bit. So let's go for a past favorite. This one is set in Las Vegas, and it is a contemporary romance. It says, after 2 broken engagements, Maya Robinson is done with dating. From now on, she's focusing on God and her goal to join an international aid organization as a nurse practitioner. But when her 18-year-old sister Lucy calls with an invitation to her Vegas wedding, it throws a wrench into Maya's plans. Why? What happens? I will tell you all about it at some point once I have read it. Until then, I'm signing off.